That's another thing. I think where people are now trying to be so politically correct, they're trying to out-woke each other. Soon someone's going to say, you can't say pedo anymore. It's a derogatory term. It offends people who are child addicted, right? So you're going to have people going to the doctor going, doctor, I think I'm child addicted, right? And the doctor will go, oh, you poor thing. How do you feel? I feel like I want to fiddle with kids. That is one of the symptoms. Don't worry, sit down. We'll get you into a facility at taxpayers' expense, right? And we'll wean you off children. How does that work, doctor? Well, you know, like when they give heroin addicts methadone, yeah? Well, we're going to start you on dwarves, right? It might work. It might. It might work. How does that work, Doc? Well, let me think. I haven't thought it through. Right, OK, no. So what you do is you come into... We've hired loads of dwarves, right? And we're not open during the panto season. We can't get the staff, right? So you come in February to November, right? And we've hired loads of dwarves, right? And we've dressed them up as school children, right? And they just run around the campus, right? Run around like they're free-range dwarves. They're little free-range dwarves, right? And they look like they're about 6 years old, right? But they're not. They're above legal age, so you're not breaking the law. And they've been paid, so it's consensual. And you just go up to one you fancy, pull down his little trousers, fiddle, is it, hey, doctor, I said I was a pedo, I didn't say I was gay, right? Do you think there's, like, homophobia in the sort of paedophile community? Like, one paedophile, he's all smug, he's heterosexual, he's abducting a little girl, right? He's taking a little girl into the forest, and he looks over and he sees another pedo with a little boy, and he goes, you fucking bender. There's a London borough that tried to ban registered paedophiles living within 1 mile of a school. Now, say what you will about pedos, but they're not lazy. You know what I mean? A lot of them are bus drivers. That's nothing. You know? So this pedo teacher, right, true story this, it was about 1976, so I was about 14, and looking back, I feel a bit sorry for him, because he was probably late 20s, and there was something wrong with him. He was like a nervous sort of guy, and he was obviously gay, and he had a fling with one of the older boys, who might have been 16, 17, so now would have been totally legal, but then technically a nonce, banished, convicted, never heard of again, big scandal, right? And when it broke, I went home that day, right? My mum was there, and she went, did he touch you? And I went, no. She went, you sure? I went, yeah. She went, he couldn't have fancied you then. So now, my mum is winding me up about me not being attractive enough to be sexually abused. Right? What if I'd have got a complex? What if I'd have thought, well, I'll show her, right? I come in at midnight. Where you been? Sucking off bus drivers. That's what you get. But that was typical of my mum. My mum, she was the salt of the earth, but she just said what she wanted, right? And she'd do anything for you, but she reserved the right to moan about it. So, growing up, right, our next-door neighbour, Mrs. Dawson, she was about 25 years older than my mum. So when my mum was 60, this old lady was already like 85, 86, and my mum was the last living witness to her existence. She lives alone, and my mum did everything for her, right? She went shopping for her, she did the housework, she went round, made her lunch and sat with her for a while, she went back, made her tea, and this went on and on. I remember calling home once, my mum was like 70, and I went, oh, I called earlier, you were out. And my mum went, yeah, I was in Dawson's. And I went, oh, how is she? And my mum went, oh. Wherever I am in the world, I always bump into someone from Reading. They go, oh, I'm a Reading boy. I go, oh, good, and that should be enough. But it never is. They always want more. They say things like, oh, yeah, you know Norman Taylor, don't you? I go, I never know this person. I go, oh, no. They go, yeah, he knows you. Yeah, I'm on the telly, mate. You went to Ashmead School, didn't you? I went, yeah. You know Pete Shepherd. Oh, when was he there? 1993. Yeah, I was 31, mate. I was 30. He knows you, does he? Has he got a telly? Yeah. That's what's happened here. That's what's happened here. But I do like old stories, and I don't tell showbiz stories. They're boring to me. I like real stories, and whenever I'm working up a tour, I try and think of things that has happened to me and how my life's changed. And I thought of one for this tour, and it was hugging. right? No one's been hugging for the last couple of years, right? Which I preferred. I liked that. I never liked hugging. I liked it when you couldn't hug, right? I always felt awkward. I never know when to hug. I didn't hug anyone growing up. I didn't hug anyone until I came to London. People were like a working class kid on an estate in Reading. You don't hug people. You don't hug your fucking dad or your granddad or your brother. You wind them up. You take the piss. That's our hug, right? I'll give you an example. We were at my dad's funeral, and I was out in the graveyard with my brother Bob, right? Bob was having a cigarette, right? And our Uncle Mike came along. We hadn't seen Mike for like 25 years. Last time we saw him, he was like 50, and now he's like 75. He hadn't aged well. He was an old man, right? And he came up to us and he went, "Hello, boys." And Bob sort of looked at him and recognised him and went, "Fuck me," like that, right? And then Bob looked around the graveyard and went, "Is there any point you going home?" Right? And Uncle Mike laughed and went, "Always nice to see you, Bobby," like that. And that was their hug. Do you know what I mean? I'll give you another example. When I left school, my best mate was a bloke called Mark, right? We did everything together. And we took a year out before we went to college to earn money to get pissed, really. And we did. It was the best summer ever. And but then something happened. His grandmother died, and he lived with her, so it was a big deal. And he went to the funeral. And the first place he came after the funeral was my house. He sat down in his little black suit, and it was just quite, I didn't know what to say. No hugging, right? So I just went, "How was it?" He went, "It was awful." He said, "She was cremated, and we all went outside to watch the smoke go up, and the wind changed, and it all blew in our faces, right?" And I went, "What, in your mouth?" And he went, "Yeah." I went, "I took a chance." I said, "Did it taste bitter?" And he went, "Yeah." I went, "That was her clitoris." Right? And Mark just went, "Fucking hell, Rick." Like that, right? And then he started laughing. And that was our hug. Do you know what I mean? School stories, and this is probably my favourite school story ever. It was 1976 again, so I was about 14. And we had a kid in our class called Gary Masterman. And Gary developed Tourette syndrome, like every sentence of the swear word, and he had a tic, because we learned all about it in assembly. Gary was up there, all the teachers knew him, all the kids knew him. He was a popular lad, right? And yeah, nice guy, Gary Masterman. But sometimes his tics seemed relevant. And I'll never forget, we were having this lesson with a young female teacher called Miss Wilkie, right? And she was at the blackboard, and she was doing those calling out suggestions. I can't remember what it was about, but she'd go, "Simon, what do you think?" "Yeah, that's good. Yes, that works, yeah." "Brian, what do you..." "Yeah, good, yeah." And she went, "Gary." He went, "I'll finger you, miss." And she just went, "Anyone else?" Bench, right, on your back to start with, like pants and trousers around your ankle, knees apart like a little frog, right? And they do the balls first, right? And I'm nervous at a doctor, I'm really nervous, so I've got no balls, right? He has to dig them out like a tortoise's head, you know what I mean? It's just like a little fist of fear down there, right? And I fucking hate it. I go, like that, right? It's horrible, right? And then when they turn you on the side and lube you up, go the finger up the arse, that's great, you know, not great, that's not why I go, but it's... me again, you were here yesterday, come on. But this one time, it was an old man, and it was still a doctor, not just an old man. Doctor said he couldn't make it, so I thought I'd have a go, right? There was a sort of like old school GP, he was about 75, little shirt and tie, tweed jacket, right? And he was sitting on an armchair, right? And he didn't put me on the bench, I was just standing up. And he went, "Oh, just pop your pants and trousers down," right? So he was a little lad, so he was like head height to my balls, right? And as I say, I'm nervous, doctor, so I jabber, I talk. I think if I put them off, they won't find the cancer. You know what I mean? Right? And so he started doing the balls, and I just went, "Oh, what are you looking for there exactly?" Right? And they usually go, "Shh," like that, and they come. And he didn't. He went, "Oh, that's a good question." And he sat back and he started telling me all about cancer, right? So now I'm just having a chat, right? And he went on for ages. He was loving it, right? And I remember it felt rude to do that. So I was going, all right, right. If you're beating up a disabled toddler, you know what I mean? If you punch up, you'll miss the little cunt and he'll win, you know? I like that joke because it highlights the difference between metaphorical punching down in jokes and actual punching down. But people nowadays want you to believe that words are actual violence, right? Now, you laughed at a joke about beating up a disabled toddler. No one got hurt. If I'd have actually dragged out a disabled toddler and started beating him up, you would laugh, right? That's why I dropped that bit. But these people are virtue signalling. They're trying to bring people down to raise their own status. And they say it's because, no, we're protecting minorities. Like, they're basically saying minorities haven't got a sense of humour, which is so patronising. And I get that as well, to what it's like to be outnumbered. In this country, we're still only 5% black, 5% Asian, 5% LGBTQ, you know, tiny numbers. Now, I'm a white, heterosexual multi-millionaire, right? There's less than 1% of us. But do I whine? No. Do I don't mind. I just get on with it. Come on, Rick. Come on, Rick. Just keep fun. I'm like Rosa Parks. Do you know what I mean? I'm like... Except I fought for the right to never have to take a seat on a bus. But... Just people complain about things they don't have to watch. It doesn't affect them, you know? And, again, everyone's got the right to be offended and complain, but they've got to know that we're not trying to offend. That's not our aim, you know? We're trying to make you laugh. We're trying to give you a good time. And, yeah, here's the deal, right? So I riff. If I say something tonight that's so offensive, so off that you've never heard anything so fucking off the charts in your life, right? Don't make a scene. Go to the box office after the show. They can't give you money back straight away, but there's a form you fill out with the complaint, and I take those away and I shit on them. So that's the rules of comedy. Say that, you've got to say you don't find them funny, you know. And I hate it when people say that joke was offensive. I gotta say, no, you've got to say you found it offensive. Because it's all about feelings, and feelings are personal. And there's loads of types of comedy, and comedy evolves, you know. There's a new type of comedy at the moment called woke comedy, right? No, it's very progressive, you know. There are some clubs now where the comedian has to sign a thing saying he won't say anything contentious or he won't say anything that could offend anyone. It's a safe space for the audience, woke comedy. And I tried to watch a bit of it, and I decided I'd rather watch Louis C.K. masturbate. Can't mention him anymore. He's cancelled. Not enough to apologise and move on. You've got to... Like poor Kevin Hart. See, Kevin Hart, he got the job hosting the Oscars. It was his best day ever. He was on Twitter going, oh, I've wanted to do this all my life, right? And then someone found these 10-year-old tweets, right? That they were sort of childish, sort of shitty, homophobic tweets. It was about his son. He was mucking around. He said, oh, my son's doing so-and-so. I hope he's not gay. There was a massive backlash. He went, oh, sorry, I'm not homophobic, really sorry. He deleted them, right, and said, I'm really sorry. 10 years later, someone finds a screen grab and goes, look, he's done this. Oh, big thing. The Oscars go, oh, you got to apologise again. He went, no, I've apologised. I can't keep apologising. And he's right. If there's no value to saying sorry and evolving, he might as well just tweet him again. Right? That's how I deal with shit, anyway. But if you're the type of person to revel in someone getting cancelled for something they said 10 years ago, you're just ensuring that one day you'll be cancelled for something you said today. You can't predict what will be offensive in the future. You don't know who the dominant mob will be. You know, like, the worst thing you can say today, get you cancelled on Twitter, death threats, whatever, the worst thing you can say today is, women don't have penises, right? Now, no one saw that coming. There are no 10-year-old tweets of people saying... You won't find a 10-year-old tweet of someone saying women don't have penises. Do you know why? We didn't think we fucking had to.